Good morning, everyone, from Second Harvest Heartland headquarters in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, where we are digging in and gearing up for week 8 of our COVID-19 response efforts. I'm Allison O'Toole, the CEO of Second Harvest Heartland, and I am just overjoyed to be joined today by 3 wonderful partners in the Hunger Relief Network. Cathy Maes from Loaves Fishes, Minnesota, Joe McDonald from VEAP, and Tony Sanneh, the founder of the Sanneh Foundation. Good morning, Cathy, Joe, and Tony, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you bringing your perspective to this conversation. One thing I know we've all experienced since the pandemic set in is our need to reinvent the most basic aspects of our lives and work. How our kids learn, how we attend meetings, how we brief the community like this, and how we shop for groceries all look dramatically different than they did just a few weeks ago. It's no different for us. The Hunger Relief community has been transforming the way we deliver essential services repeatedly these last few weeks to meet rapidly growing and changing demand and to accommodate social distancing. A few weeks back, we found ourselves with more produce than we could deliver through our normal channels, just as the need for nutritious food was growing dramatically. So we introduced emergency farmers markets, a COVID-friendly take on the beloved local farmers markets. We allow people to drive up and pick up pre-packed produce boxes that they can keep, that will keep them well and sustain them. Since our first emergency farmers market in Morton, Minnesota, we've held 10 emergency farmers markets, delivering a total of almost 180,000 pounds of fresh, beautiful produce to thousands of families. We've also started sending CSA-style produce boxes to our agency partners to make it even easier and safer for families to pick up produce from their local food shelf. So far, we've delivered 5,300 of those boxes to our partners across Minnesota. We will need to be nimble every day moving forward. Our work is likely to hit not one, but several peaks in the coming months. Minnesotans will experience a first wave of financial relief in the form of stimulus checks and additional unemployment benefits. And then we anticipate the need for food will ramp way up again as these resources run dry. We are getting ready. I know we'll look at the dashboard here in a minute. Thank you. So just a few stats. Last week, we delivered over 1.6 million pounds of food and over 8,000 emergency food boxes to food shelves. In total, we've delivered over 58,000 emergency food boxes since the outbreak began. Minnesota Central Kitchen, our partnership with Loaves Fishes and Cathy and her team, and with the culinary community, designed to feed more hungry neighbors, hit a big milestone this week in that we surpassed the 200,000 meal mark with over 220,000 meals served since launching. It's a huge milestone, and we are so proud to be part of this partnership. And Cathy, my trusted Minnesota Central Kitchen partner, will say more about this. Cathy?
Thank you, Allison, and great to be with you, Tony and Joe. Loaves Fishes has been making changes over the years, and I think most people view us as a meal program, and yes, all of our work does end up somehow on a plate. We have open to the public dining sites. We have the hub where we have 80 other partners that are serving meals in their programs, small nonprofits. We go to the streets every weekend, and now we're partnering with the YMCA. So the numbers came in for April at a total of, get ready for this, 384,043 meals. A crazy amount. You divide that up by 30 and you end up around 12,000, almost 13,000 meals a day. We used to serve around 3,500. So our partnership with the Y and going down to the streets and our sites are seeing triple the amount of people that are hungry. And all of our meals in partnership with the Central Kitchen and forever have been fresh. There have been a fresh salad and Second Harvest, thank you for getting us that fresh food. I wanted to share, I try to be the heart of this since we are touching so many people. We received a letter, an email from a woman in Burnsville, and she said, I did go to the Burnsville YMCA, and the healthy meals have helped my family more than you would know. Everyone has been so kind, and being able to just drive up really helps any feelings of hesitation, of needing help. Someday when my family is in a better place, I would love to volunteer. For now, I appreciate your kindness and what you do for families. So that is what we saw, and April was a crazy month. May looks to be, like you said, Allison, another go at it with a little bit of grit and strategy. I know that we can do this together. Tony, I'm supposed to pass the mic off to you.
Well, thank you, Joe, Cathy, and Allison, and for including me on this call. And we're happy to be supporting and be around such, people that are leaders in this industry, and we're learning as we're going. At the Sanneh Foundation, we've addressed food security in the past and serving snacks in schools and after-school programs, and we serve about 40,000 hot meals at the community center, which we run on the east side of St. Paul. We really focus on building relationships in the community, and food has always been a big part of reaching people's hearts and building trust. Since this has changed, we've really repurposed our organization and looked to partner, food service experts like yourselves, and the partnerships have really helped us grow. And we're really packing and producing food for food agencies, driving, delivering, everything from Meals on Wheels to our fruit drops and the produce with Second Harvest. So that's been the biggest growth for what we've been doing. And they've been well, Allison, thank you, because you guys have been like a mentor on the go to make sure, the one, that we ensure safe food, two, that we're able to learn the process to comply with what I'm learning from my staff, a lot of standards and requirements and reporting that people probably don't think about or realize everything that goes into it. But we are having 2 farmers markets a week on Wednesdays and Fridays, and I think in the last couple of weeks we've distributed over 47 pounds of fresh produce, and we look to grow that and add another site. And it's been great to see. It's been sad that sometimes the line has actually been 4 blocks long, and we moved through it pretty quickly. But it's good that we found partners willing to support us, with the produce at no cost, and that our staff has really stepped up to meet the needs. I feel like the staff is really energized right now because they feel like they're needed in the community. In this time of social distancing, they are able to connect with families, even if it's through a car window. So that's been great. And I think one thing that Minnesotans need to know is that this is affecting everybody. And your first ring suburbs and your inner cities, access to food is challenging, and people are afraid to go out. And access to fresh and healthy food is even more important. So I'm just glad that we have this partnership and that we're learning with you guys, and that people look at our organization as a resource that we're able to fulfill.
I think I'm going to take it over from Tony. Allison, Cathy, and Tony, it's great to be with you and everybody else that's on the call. VEAP stands for Volunteers Enlisted to Assist People. We're a 47-year-old nonprofit organization that offers food and housing and other social service supports to over 8,000 households and 24,000 individuals, children, youth, adults, seniors who live in Bloomington, Richfield, Edina, and South Minneapolis. Hunger relief is our core competency. Last year, we distributed more than 4.3 million pounds of food, and over half of that was fresh produce. And that's something we're very proud of, and we can only do that at that volume because of our partnerships with Second Harvest Heartland and the food group. I have an office that has a window, and I see the Second Harvest truck come in at least twice a day, maybe 3 times a day, with bulk produce, food rescue that contains a lot of produce. So that's a critically important partnership that we have that benefits the participants in our programs. Since about 7 weeks ago, we have totally re-engineered our warehouse and pantry to offer a drive-through food distribution system. And in that time, we have seen households accessing food increase by 25%. We are bringing food to people in their homes. We're doing that an average of about 105 times a week where we are delivering food to homes. That is 7 to 8 times the number that we normally do pre-COVID-19. And as I said, we don't just do food, we also do housing support, and we've experienced a 5 times the number of calls for support as well. Within that simplified drive-through system where we're still able to get food to folks, we are still able to provide some choice. In addition to the pre-packed bags of shelf-stable items, we're able to provide some choice for people in the areas of dairy and meat and fresh produce as well. And the thing that I really love, our staff has been so creative and flexible. So in addition to the order that our participants make at the end of the line when they're receiving the food that they ordered, they also are offered more food from kind of the items that we have a large inventory of. And so much of that is focused on fresh produce. I've been there, I've seen apples, oranges, sweet potatoes, berries, melons over the past few weeks. Yesterday in the warehouse, we had volunteers sorting onions and beets and corn on the cob that will continue to get to our participants. And the one thing I would want people of Minnesota to know is that we understand that it can be a vulnerable spot to come and ask for help. We know the number of unemployment applications are up so much, and a lot of those, high percentage, are first-time applicants, and we just want people to know that we are here for them. If you don't have the resources to access the food that you need, that's exactly why VEAP is here. So we would welcome you to come and stop by to receive the food.
All right. Thanks so much for the information and the good thoughts, everybody. We have a couple of questions coming in and we would love to see more. So for those of you who are on the call, please remember to enter your questions. We'd love to tackle them. First question, I think, is for Cathy, Tony, and Allison. Where can I find a farmer's market or a free meal from Loaves and Fishes?
So I can lead off, and I would guess Tony and Cathy can give a few more specifics, but we have free emergency farmers markets all over the state, all over our service area right now. Today we're in Marshall. On Friday, we're in Forest Lake and Eagle Bend. Next week, we are in Little Falls and Rockford. If you want information or want to request a farmer's market, you can go to the Hunger Solutions website, Elizabeth, I think that's right. And we'll put that in the comments. But Cathy, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about your sites and then kick it to Tony.
Sure. I just put it in the chat. Or just go to our website, loavesandfishesmn.org, and you can search by day, you can search by location, and it's all listed, the address and the times that the meals are served.
Thanks, Cathy. Any info you want to share, Tony?
And I'm going to assume that it's on our website as well. There's a COVID response, but we do have fresh produce Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 to 4. We are looking to open up another spot through our partnership with Second Harvest in the Midway-ish area that we'll announce next week if we can get everything together. But we do serve food out of here Monday through Friday, and we will also be doing hot meals through our partnership the week of the 18th, partnership with Second Harvest as well. But right now, Wednesdays and Fridays is the best day to come for fresh produce between 1 and 4 p.m.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, everyone. All right, an email question from Joe in St. Peter. Why is produce important now alongside canned goods and food that will keep? So I think he's asking why the emphasis on fresh food as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kick it off, but I bet others have some things to say about this as well. We think everyone deserves to have healthy, fresh food. And especially at a time when folks are needing to stay home and keep themselves well. We want to make sure that not only their cupboards are stocked with shelf-stable food, but also that fresh, nutritious produce that we all need to be well and to sustain this. And so we want to make sure everyone has access to that. Cathy, do you have any, or any of you, any stories about how important that is to the folks, your guests?
You know, I have a great story. It was a day that we have a farm, and it was a day that we had picked spinach, and I wanted to get out to one of our sites, and it was a site in Crystal. And I sat down with a woman who had just been given a plate of food, and I asked her why she came tonight. And she lifted her plate up and she said, I cannot put this many colors on a plate. And it was cantaloupe and the spinach salad and some sort of an Italian dish. So it was orange and green and red. And I just thought, wow, that was very poignant for me. And then she ate some of the spinach and I was like, okay, she's eating the spinach. And I said, how is it? And she goes, what is this? And I said, it's spinach. We picked it at our farm. And she said, it tastes like velvet. And she had never eaten fresh spinach. So for me, it's that spinach story. And a lot of our guests do not shop the perimeter of the grocery store. And if we can supplement that in a meal, then wow, we're winning. We're winning.
Yeah, to pick up on what Cathy said, the not a specific story, but so many times I have seen participants in our food program with the amount of produce that we do provide, just smiles on their faces, not believing that when they come to a food pantry, they not only have access to those kind of shelf-stable items, but again, over half of the food we distributed was fresh produce. So both pre-health crisis and during the health crisis, the number of smiles that I've seen when people see the amount of fresh produce has led me to realize not only is that helpful for your physical health, but also there's a mental health, emotional kind of health aspect to it as well, that I just think it's a holistic kind of piece of all of our health.
And I just want to add that it's really important because it's inclusive of all cultures. I think that's really important. And so you see in St. Paul, the area that we're serving in, it's very diverse. We have a high Korean population, high Somali population, African-American population, Latino population. And produce talks to all of them, and it makes them feel kind of at home. So having access to fresh produce, we think is really, key in equitable feeding.
Thanks everybody so much. That's really inspiring. A question from Dawn. How do you ensure that volunteers who are packing food, etc., are staying safe themselves? I may ask you to start, Allison, with that one.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So at Second Harvest Heartland, we have been welcoming volunteers pretty much every day since we started our COVID response. And it looks a little different, but there are some similarities. We already have a very clean, food safe environment, but we normally, outside of this pandemic, would welcome over 100 volunteers at a time. We can't do that anymore. So we limit the groups to 10. We space everyone out properly. We social distance, and we make sure people have masks, and we do safety checks on their way in. We take temperatures and we go through a safety questionnaire. There is nothing more important to our community to make sure that we are being safe as we are helping our community. That goes for not only the Second Harvest Heartland staff, who I am very proud of, but also the people who come in this building, and the folks who need the food on at the end of the line with, on the front lines with Joe and Tony and Cathy. So we take it very seriously. It just looks a little different, but we sure are thankful for all the volunteers who keep coming in to help us pack food.
Cathy, I see you went to get a prop.
You know what, we have gone kitchen by kitchen and decided how many volunteers can safely be in the kitchen. It used to be 12 to 15, and we're down to, at some kitchens, to 2 or 3. Everybody is masked and gloved, and then everything goes into a to-go container. and actually put on tables for the guests then to take. So we keep the distance. But then this is also a great story too. When there was no sanitizer, the distilleries came together, and they bring us so much of this, and it goes out to all of our sites. So this was, okay, I'm 50 something. This was Du Nord and Tattersall and Brother Justice. And it's amazing. And so you just spray it on your hands and rub it, and we feel really grateful for these partnerships.
Yeah, we, like Allison said, we've intentionally lowered the number of volunteers we have here, but we cannot do what we do without our volunteers. Last year we had 3,300 volunteers who gave 67,000 hours of time. So while we know we can't do what we do without our volunteers, we had to intentionally reduce the number. But similar to Allison, masks, social distancing, we have a lot of blue and red X's on floors, no more than 10 people in each area. That we do have volunteers, keeping them apart. We do multiple daily safety audits that one of our staff walks around just to make sure people are following those guidelines, because the health and safety of our staff, our volunteers, and our program participants are the priority.
And we've tried to somewhat limit our volunteers, and we've actually staffed up for some other volunteer agencies just so we can keep a consistent staff and not have too many different people. So that's we've helped in other organizations. Here locally, we try to sort outside now when possible with sturdy produce, with nice weather. We always try to keep one person per table near a pallet when we're searching, and obviously a lot of hand sanitizer, mandatory wash your hand breaks, and then making sure everybody has masks and.
That looks great, Tony.
I would also, can I add in, Elizabeth, that we've seen a lot of new volunteers because they have time and they want to do something. And so that's fantastic. I look at that as another big win, and they come in really joyful and excited, where a lot of our volunteers in the past have been over 65 and have stepped back, and that's okay. And they will come back, I know that, but for this time to find new volunteers is a big, smile of joy.
It's very encouraging. All right, we have another question from Heather in Minneapolis. She says, it's been very troubling to see excess food go to waste in the news recently. What are your organizations doing to make sure that this food can be used by people who need it?
So Elizabeth, maybe I can start with that.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are working with our partners, including Governor Walz and his administration, to make sure that doesn't happen here in Minnesota. We have wonderful partnerships with Minnesota farmers, retailers, wholesalers, all that, but we're really working hard to prevent that here and to make sure that we are a resource at Second Harvest Heartland and the other food banks to take on this surplus food. So again, we're thinking through that with the administration. We appreciate Governor Walz's steady leadership on this and smart leadership as we navigate this together. I think the same goes out for our Agriculture Commissioner, Tom Peterson, who is, I know, talking with farmers every day. I also know our federal partners are working on this too, and I know the USDA has a new program and things. So we are, I think the bottom line before getting too weedy is that we have our eye on this. We are ready to take any donation from any farmer, and we do that normally. And so really trying to work to prevent that.
And we have trucks out every single day. Our Director of Operations literally is on the phone fielding calls where Second Harvest, isn't going to pick up a pallet. We can step in and be that nimble partner, because a pallet isn't big enough for them, but it's perfect for us. And so we've got 4 cargo vans out and 2 box trucks that are going 24/7. And that has been really, and especially with the restaurants closing, schools closing, that has been an extra, unexpected cost for us. And if you really want to get down to the tax, we're spending we're spending so much more money every single week and it's on gas, it's on extra staffing, just to make sure that we're not wasting food.
Mhm.
And I think, Elizabeth, I wonder, I think we're all happy to take more questions. I would love to put in the chat box information on all of our organizations. I think I will just do my weekly call out. What is most important, I think you're hearing that we have a lot of volunteers right now. I know at Second Harvest Heartland, we're booked out for weeks. We're so very thankful. But what's most needed for all of us are financial resources. And every dollar, we stretch every dollar. We are efficient with that. And I know we can all, this community has been so generous. They have wrapped their arms around all of us. We need that to continue as we see these peaks, these continued peaks, these prolonged economic crisis, because people are going to continue to need help from us. So if we could put that all in the chat section, I think that would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank
Anything
you.
that you, Joe, Tony, or Cathy would like to add, how the community can help each of your organizations? Yeah,
I would reflect exactly what Allison said. We've had an amazing outpouring of volunteer support. Similarly, you can't sign up for a volunteer shift. Maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks out. We have broken records for the number of new volunteer applications over each of the exploded the records for a number of new volunteer applications. Financial contributions help us be more flexible, more nimble, to be able to react to what is going on. So that is the biggest help right now. And at the same time, love to have volunteers and would love to have people continue to donate food and some hygiene items as well, toilet paper, diapers, things like that. They're always helpful as well.
I would say that reflect what everybody has said. Money makes the world go round in some sense, and we need to be able to pay for gas and just things that do cost money. We want volunteers. Another way that you can help is you see a good deed or another agency doing great work. Advocate, post, reshare on social media, because taking that little step may get it out to 100 more people that will be in a position to support it as well. So. And also, thank your frontline workers and the other organizations doing the great work, because, sometimes they're so busy working, they don't actually hear it from each other.
I'll give just a little bit of perspective. I led another nonprofit in the food insecurity in 2008, and that was tough. And there will be a time when donors stop thinking about the need. And I'm looking at this, we have guests and you have clients that maybe never made it out of 2008 and are living still paycheck to paycheck. Maybe they have a couple of months, in their pocket, but that's it. And so I look at what's going on right now as much worse, much worse than 2008, and with a lot of fear. So please give generously, and I totally agree with you, Tony. Share things and share good stories, because there are good stories. And I know that we keep saying that we're in this together, but you know what? We really are, and we can do it. Like I said, with a little bit of grit and a little bit of strategy and some joy, we got this.